if you know me in any capacity, you know Avatar the Last Airbender is in my blood. It's in my veins. It pumps through my veins. Avatar the Last Airbender and Attack on Titan. In any conversation we are having, if TV shows and movies come up, I will recommend this to Unprovoked. So I really wanted to like this live action. I really did, because we saw One Piece work, you know? We saw One Piece work and we were like, maybe Avatar the Last Airbender will work. And we will be redeemed from what Shyamalan created, because Shyamalan created an abomination. An abomination that we try not to speak of because it literally gave us nightmares. So we were hopeful that this would work. And I'm not saying that it was bad. It wasn't like bad like Shyamalan's. It just didn't live up to the expectations of the true animation fans. How I would describe it is a show that was inspired by the original. That's the best way I would describe it. They definitely didn't go off the rails like Shyamalan, but they also did. They took their creative freedom too far. That was the problem for me. And a book where, because we know season 1 is about Aang learning to waterbend, he never waterbended at all. And that is what really pissed me off, because of the things that I'm going to talk about later. But book 1 is water. Aang gets to learn about water. But this is not the case when it comes to this live action, which makes it a completely different story. What was the point of going to the north? The Northern Water Tribe was not. It was not to protect them. These people had endured the war. They were untouched, literally. They didn't need anyone's protection. They were good. The reason why the Fire Nation attacked the Northern Water Tribe is because they were looking for Aang. They would not have gone there if Aang was not there, and he was there to learn. But they changed the story completely. That was not the goal at the end of the day. If you're watching this as a person who had never watched Avatar the Last Airbender, the animation, you will probably like it. You probably think it's okay, 50% or 70%, 60%. But if you are a true original fan, you'll not like it. Unless you're just lying to people. I'm going to talk about the things that I liked about the show and what I didn't like about the show. I have like a whole thesis here. I was like really serious. That's why I took my time before putting out this review. So what I liked about the live action, I liked the animation. The animation was obviously a million times better than what Shyamalan had. You could see that they spent actual like really big bucks to create this, animating the bending styles, the sets. The sets were actually really beautiful. Even the scenery, it was really beautiful. It was really beautiful. Just watching it, it was a beautiful show. I really liked the first 10 minutes of the show. I liked how the creative liberty they took that I liked was how they changed the intro done, which is normally done by Katara, and they made Kiyoshi do it. The animation is different simply because Katara, for me, puts heart to the show. So her explaining what happened, the whole war thing, she puts heart and empathy in it. But with Kiyoshi is hardcore. I liked the Kiyoshi introduction. I think it was really badass. I liked the actors that played Ozai, played by Daniel D. Kim. The actors that played Jed. The actor that played Sokka. The actor that played Suki. The actor that played Aang. I liked those actors. But the actor that stood out for me, and I think wouldn't have stood out for me because I didn't expect it, was the character that played Azula. I think she did a really good job. Azula is a very complicated character. She plays a villain, but remember she's 14 years old. I think this character did a really good job, and the fact that they don't have like a lot of screen time in season 1 as opposed to the next season, I think she did a good job establishing who Azula really is. So that was really good. I also like the aspect of expounding the war, how it started, especially the annihilation of the air nomads. I think that was really cool. We would have definitely not seen it in the animation because it was a kids show, but I think us just seeing the genocide of the air nomads put heart into the show. It really showed how, yes, they stood their ground and they fought back, because air nomads are also really good fighters. They just don't do it if they don't have to. Their bending is more of a way of life. They are pacifists, you know. So seeing them defend themselves against the Fire Nation on one of the strongest nights during the comet really brought heart into it. So yeah, those are the couple of things that I really liked about the show. The first 10 minutes, I think they were really cool. Now, Moving on to what I didn't like, there were a couple of them, and I hope I state them in an order that will make sense, because I just jotted them down. I didn't like how they changed key points of the story. As I've said, this show was an inspiration of from the animation. It wasn't true to source material at all. It's not what we saw in One Piece. One Piece, the live action stayed true to source material. Nothing was cut, nothing was added, as in they brought to life what we have seen in the anime, and that is really good. That's what the original fans wanted. Those are the people you're supposed to please first before you please other people. We know Book 1 is about water, Aang learning to waterbend, but with the live action that is not the case. We know that Aang is supposed to go to the northern water tribe to learn waterbending, because it's the last standing water tribe. The southern water tribe we know is completely done for. The only waterbender is Katara. So they're heading to the north to learn waterbending. That's the main premise of Book 1, Season 1, as we would think. But now, since it's not the same story, the reason for them to go to the northern water tribe is completely different. It is to help them protect themselves. And for me, in my mind, I was like, the northern water tribe was a force to reckon with. It didn't need any protection from anyone. It had stayed away from the war because of how protected it was. The Fire Nation would not just attack it. They even say it in the animation. So them changing it and making the Northern Water Tribe look as if they were weaker in some aspects really pissed me off, because we are supposed to see Aang learn waterbending, but he never waterbended once. Nothing. So when will he waterbend? That was my question. Because if you go to season 2, he's supposed to learn earthbending. He can't learn earthbending if he hasn't learned waterbending. It didn't make any sense. To me, I was so pissed when it was coming to an end, and I was like, he's supposed to learn how to waterbend. He didn't. The other key thing they changed was the relationship between Aang and Katara. In the animation, Aang and Katara are the link to this show, you know. Aang, when he comes out of the iceberg, the first person he sees is Katara. And they have a bond from there. Katara feels responsible for Aang. And Aang, in a way, brings out the kid in Katara, because Katara really never got the chance to be a kid. So they have a dynamic that works. Which eventually leads them to be together at the end of the day. And that is now what we see here. Katara is basically rendered, to me in the live action, was rendered useless in a way. She's waterbending, and the thing that really irked me again was that Katara all of a sudden can waterbend from words of affirmation from Aang. That did not make sense. Katara really struggled with waterbending to a point where she was mad at Aang, because you know Aang is naturally talented. There's a reason why he has the mastery marks, because he mastered the aspect of airbending when he was really young, and that's what in a way plays a part to him being the Avatar. So she's in the animation, she's really mad. She's like, how is Aang just getting this so quickly? It's not even his natural form of bending, but he's getting it more quickly than I am. Here, Katara, in a couple of episodes, actually not even a couple of episodes, in episode 2, he's already fighting Zuko. And I'm like, what? She's supposed to struggle. Characters bond with the people they watch, the audience that they watch, through the struggle that they go through. When you see your character struggle, the character that you like, and eventually see them win, even in life, when you see people who've struggled for a while and you finally watch them win, you will connect to them. You will love them. You will be like, I want to be like that. This character went through this, and look how good he is. There's a reason why people like Naruto, because Naruto was essentially a failure, an outcast, but he grew up to be what he always said he would be, the Hokage. And that's why Naruto resonates with so many of these characters. You know, there's a struggle there, you know. Katara didn't have this struggle at all. She was almost all of a sudden a master. I hated how they took out the aspect of Aang being playful. Aang in this story, he's all business, no pleasure. He's like, we need to go here, there, who. He's just focused on just being the best Avatar. Oh, but that is not Aang. Aang is playful. Aang is 12. Tell me of which serious 12-year-old you know. Aang is playful. he goes to Kyoshi not because they need to find answers to how the avatar thing works. No, he's simply there because he wants to ride the elephant koi fish. He just wants to be a child. He wants to show off to Katara. He wants to show off how good he can be, But that is taken away from him as the avatar in the live action. And that's why, as much as, yes, I liked the actor that played Aang, because I think he did really good with what he was given. An actor is always as good as the script. That's what I usually say. So Aang was good, yes, but he would have even been better if he was given the original Aang script. That's not even my thoughts. Those are just facts. Fight me. But I stand on that. As they said, they took out the aspect of sexism from Sokka, and even Master Paku as well. It was very mellowed down, which I didn't like. I really didn't like, because Sokka doesn't have any character development. Actually, these characters, the way you find them in the beginning till the end, these characters really don't change. They just meet a lot of people, but they really don't change. You don't see the growth that we saw in book 1 in the animation. I hated the dialogue. The dialogue was really, really bad. The dialogues you listen to, like, let me just give a good example. Tyler Perry dialogues are so stupid and cheesy to a point where you're like, people don't talk like this. You've ever seen a movie or a TV show, you're like, people don't talk like this. This is what they did. Considering that the animation has one of the best dialogues ever, especially from characters such as Aang, Zuko, Iroh. The dialogue in this one was so bad. It was really, really bad. It was cheesy. It really annoyed me. It really, really did, considering how good the dialogue in the animation is. And mind you, the animation was made for children between the ages 5 and I think 12. It didn't even go past age 12. But the dialogue in these two shows, you will never even compare. And that's why I usually said, even from the first point, an actor is only as good as the script they're given. I think the characters really, really tried their best to bring out the best in this show. But I feel like the dialogue, the script just cut them off at their knees. Especially the dialogues, or rather monologues, or just lines from a character that is so well respected, like Iroh. He talked in the live action, and I got pissed because of how cheesy they made him. Iroh is not just good, he's wise also. And he's not like loud wise, he's quiet wise. Iroh did not even get himself involved too much with what Zuko was doing in the aspect of capturing the avatar. He was just aloof. He was a guide to Zuko, not to help him capture the avatar, but to help him get back to himself, But in this live action, he's involved in the aspect of capturing the avatar and all these things, which made my blood boil. I really didn't like the dialogue. And this leads to the next point, which is the aspect of show, don't tell. This show kept on telling us things they could have just showed us. Show us what you're saying. If someone is good, show us how good they are. Stop telling us how good they are. I hated the fact that Katara and Sokka's grandmother told us again from the introduction of how the war started and everything. Show us. The other thing that I really hated, another example that I had in mind, was how the meeting with Suki and the gang. Suki's village and the gang. And Suki's mother is coming down on the Avatar team. Oh, you'll bring problems, blah, blah, blah. And that's okay. But Suki's like, tries to calm her mom down. And she's like, oh, mom, don't be too hard on them. He's the Avatar, blah, blah, blah. He just wants to learn. And the mother is like, oh, Suki, you're a strong warrior, but you have a good heart, a soft heart. Don't tell us. Show us how Suki is good by her actions, by how she treats the people who are around her, by how she leads, by how she treats the team after that. Show us, don't tell us. This show kept on telling us, a show that tells you what you're supposed to think is a show that just thinks you're stupid to understand, too stupid to understand what is going on, which is not supposed to be the case. Let your audience draw their own conclusions. If you've written a character good and people have different views about the character. That is art. We can't look at the same thing and see the same thing simply because we are not the same people. We have different experiences and so many things. So if they're making a season 2, show us. Don't tell us. Don't keep on telling us what you're supposed to think. Show us and let your audience have their own thoughts about whatever you're showing them. Simple. That's it. The other thing that pissed me the F off is Zuko. Zuko is my favorite character. I think number 1, Zuko has one of the best character developments I've ever seen. I'm actually doing a very long video on his character growth and character development. Zuko's character growth is something that was written by the gods, I would say, simply because of how real it feels. It just doesn't happen. With this live action, they show us how good Zuko can be, how good Zuko can be considerate and all those things. The show took its time with that. Those are the things we got to see in season 2, but they didn't just blast them on our faces. They did it in a very meticulous way that we knew we could see that there was some good in Zuko, but he had to prove it to us. That's the word. Zuko had to prove himself good to us and Team Avatar. This live action doesn't know that. We see Zuko's empathy, which is not something that we're supposed to see right from the bat. Zuko is supposed to be just bad guy, a one-dimensional bad guy in season 1, so that you can not like him, so that when season 2 rolls around, you're like, actually, Zuko kind of went through some stuff. Zuko actually went through it, but this one doesn't do that. And I hate how they messed up this character. I'm going to do a video on Zuko's character in season 1. I didn't like it. I think the actor does really well trying to bring out Zuko, and as I said, the actors in this show are really good. They're good. As I said, they did their best with what they were given. No hate to these actors. I don't even know these people and probably never will. But as I said, an actor is only as good as the writer. An actor is only as good as the script. So the other thing that I didn't like was how paced wrongly it was. I feel like they had the best amount of time to bring out the story. There's a review I saw who said they would have probably done better with 12 episodes. But I think even with the 8 episodes they had, with the long runtime, they would have done okay. They dragged unnecessary stories, especially what really pissed me off is when they joined the Omashu story, the Northern Air Temple, and a Jet story. They combined those 3 stories, and that pissed me the F up because it first of all dragged that runtime like nothing else. These 3 storylines, they had nothing to connect them with. Nothing. So between I remember it was episode 3 and 4, and I was really pissed because I was like, Omashu, what has Omashu have to do with the Northern Air Tribe? Or what does Omashu have to do with Jet? Jet was a really cool character, as I said before, but these 3 episodes were key and were phenomenal on their own. There was no need to bring them together. And as I said, this show was just inspired by the original, which was, for me, I didn't want that. I wanted something that is key to source material. And for me, that's why live actions don't work. As much as, yes, the One Piece live action work, live actions don't work. For me, I'm always of the thought that just create original content. No one will kill you. Just create something that is yours and get to tell your own story. Stop telling other people's story. Stop telling other people's story. So, yeah. Avatar the Last Airbender, the live action, I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It just made me numb. And I'd rather just hate something, just like the way I hated Madame Web, because your feelings are clear about that. But this one just made me feel numb, and I just felt disappointed. I wanted something that is true to source material. That's all. The original fans, the die-hard fans of the show, wanted what they have always liked, what they grew up watching. This show was all over the place to a point where it didn't know who it was targeting, whether it was the Game of Thrones fans it wanted to target, or the kids, or the original, or the original fans, or new fans. It was just all over the place. For me, I just think if you please the original fans, you end up now get the luxury of bringing on other fans. So yeah, that's my take on it. And mind you, I haven't even spoiled it as much. and it's this video has been longer than I thought. So yeah, all in all, that's just my general thought on the whole show. I expected better. I wish it was better, but it was okay. It was there. I wouldn't even tell someone to go watch the live action. Go watch it. Give me your thoughts. I would want... There are people who obviously enjoyed the show, but I would just tell people, just go watch the original animation, which is either on Netflix or I think Paramount, Amazon, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, go watch the original show. Even the original show itself, the official accounts that manage the content that comes from the original show didn't even promote this. That's how I was like, yeah, they probably didn't like what was being done. So yeah, that's my general take on it. If you came this far, if you stuck through my ranting, thank you. Subscribe if you can, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.